Goedenavond, dames en heren. Voordat we beginnen wil ik een moment van stilte vragen voor de stille migrant. Of beter gezegd, het sprookje van de stille migrant, omdat die stille migrant nooit bestaan heeft. En tegen degene die die term bedacht heeft, zou ik willen zeggen, deze migrant is nooit stil geweest. Hij sprak alleen in een taal die jij niet spreekt. Het is niet zo dat wij onze verhalen niet vertelden. Wij deelden ze wanneer we samenkwamen bij Nieuwpintje, Kloeptsiniklau en Pinsang Delta. Deze migrant deelde zijn verhalen bij Bediel Boys, FC Maens en Salamaanse over dat je werk zou kunnen vinden bij Begaken. Deze migrant is nooit stil geweest. Hij sprak alleen in een taal die jij niet spreekt. En dat weet ik, omdat jij de weg niet weet naar Goed Luminaze, Postdoes Negros of Kralinge. En als jouw ouders zeiden, Nobape Kolsinge, dat je dan overal in de stad liep, behalve op de Koolsingel. En over de Koolsingel gesproken, een kampioenschap van Feyenoord vieren wij in een fontein op het Hofplein, maar een Kaapverdiaans voetbalfeestje is nog altijd op Presinje. Deze migrant is nooit stil geweest. Hij sprak alleen in een taal die jij niet spreekt. En dat weet ik, omdat jij anders zou weten van de verhalen van de mannen die op 15-jarige leeftijd volwassen waren. Beland in een compleet andere wereld sliepen zij in een zeevaarderspension zonder moeder en vader. Volwassen kinderen die tijdens hun eerste tocht over zee 's avonds stiekem tranen lieten omdat hun collega's bezig waren brieven te lezen. Brieven van thuis, brieven van mensen die hen misten, terwijl zij zelf niets hadden gekregen. Stel hè, maar stel, deze migrant was echt stil, dan was het omdat hij niet kon spreken vanwege die brok in zijn keel. Maar deze migrant is nooit stil geweest. Hij sprak alleen in een taal die jij niet spreekt. En feesten waar jij niet feest. Zo'n club, Royal Party 60, King's Place, Boy de Almere. Deze zogenaamde stille migrant. Tavetrisi Pit Bodge, Funana, Coledere, Kuchipom en Zoerke, terwijl jij nog bezig was met de vogeltjesdans. Deze migrant is nooit stil geweest. Hij sprak alleen in een taal die jij niet spreekt. En dat weet ik, omdat jij anders zou weten van de volwassen mannen die 30 jaar geleden hun geboortegrond achter zich lieten en nooit meer zijn teruggeweest. Bang als ze zijn om het trauma van afscheid nemen te moeten herbeleven. Ik kan een gevormen. En dan zou je weten dat sommigen dus ook hun moeder al 30 jaar geen abras hebben gegeven. En dan zou je weten dat Soldaat, gezongen door César Evre, meer is dan, zo, dat is echt een leuk liedje zeg. Soldaat is zo wat heilig. Dan zou je weten dat Soldaat gaat over heimwee naar je geboortegrond. En dan zou je begrijpen dat dat lied Soldaat de soundtrack van mijn jeugd in Rotterdam vormde, terwijl ik hier in dezezelfde stad ben geboren. Deze migrant is nooit stil geweest. Hij sprak alleen een taal die jij niet spreekt. En dat weet ik, omdat jij anders zou weten dat je iedere weekend kon inschakelen op 95.6 FM Radio was de Cabo Verde. Hallo, wind. Hallo? Ja, Leo, een krimmende, je tiergas en een Sint-Nicolaas. Wacht. Mama, hoe zeg je groeten? Hoe? Oh, een krimmende in je tiergas en een Sint-Nicolaas vierdoeren? Hè? Nee, wacht. Hoe? Nee, niet groeten. Oh, een krimmende je tiergas en een Sint-Nicolaas montagne. Oh, en een krieuwwikke liedje van Jill and the Perfect Mother Bichu. Ja, oké, ciao. Maar soms waren deze migranten ook gewoon echt stil. Stil omdat ze moe waren van er niet bij te horen. Moe van de hele dag te moeten communiceren in een taal die ze maar niet echt onder de knie krijgen konden. Ik bedoel, ze spraken de taal wel, maar konden hun grapjes er niet in kwijt. Spontane opmerkingen waren minder spontaan, omdat de opmerking eerst moest worden vertaald naar het Nederlands vanuit het Kaapverdiaans. En dan was het moment alweer voorbij. Tjeprillen. Mijn moeder werkte voor thuiszorg. Kwam bij bejaarden thuis om ze te verzorgen, om hun billen te vegen, ze te baden en in bed te stoppen. Omdat hun bloedeigen kinderen dat niet konden. Als dank kreeg ze vervolgens te horen, ga terug naar je eigen land. Ik heb een hekel aan Surinamers. Eenmaal de deur uit reageerden ze met het oer-Hollandse godverdomme. En ik zeg je heel eerlijk, hè, soms, maar heel soms, zou ik willen dat ze stille immigranten waren. Ik kwam thuis met Atheneum als schooladvies en de reactie was, een tombo kapot conseguir gymnasium. Hun idee van een motiverende speech was, kan een tienje boeien dat? En dat in je lijn. Nou, mina, kan een tienje boeien dat? En dat was Chicago. Mi kan een tienje boeien dat? En ben Polando, koei tot mi, mint in zo'n kwarte klas. Jaren later werkte ik kortstondig als docent in het voortgezet onderwijs in Rotterdam-Delfshaven. Daar maakte ik ouders mee die de Nederlandse taal niet machtig waren. Ouders waarvan ik binnen 5 seconden kon horen hoe moeilijk of makkelijk ik Nederlands moest praten. Over een zekere moeder zei mijn collega dat ze nooit veel te zeggen heeft. Ja, ik bedoel, ze knikt wel heel beleefd en dan zegt ze dat het goed komt, maar ze is ook weer zo weg voordat je het weet. Ja, stil immigrant, hè. Diezelfde moeder moest ik bellen om te vertellen dat haar zoon zich had misdragen. Hij vertoonde gedrag waarvoor ik zelf vroeger op het City College berucht was, maar ik besloot dat maar achterwege te laten. Eenmaal met de moeder aan de lijn hoorde ik de twijfel in haar stem, waarop ik antwoordde met: ik voelde de opluchting aan de andere kant van de lijn en heb vervolgens nog 40 minuten met deze moeder aan de telefoon gezeten, omdat ze spontaan besloot haar hele levensverhaal te delen. Geboren in Cachaas, opgegroeid in Vanges-Sint-Nicolau. Met als conclusie dat zij niet wist wat haar zoon bezielde. Ze zei: kan een tienje zie daar, een tienje op Chicago. Mien is zo kwarte klas. Diezelfde leerling heb ik nog regelmatig een schop onder zijn kont moeten geven. Na laten blijven zodat hij alleen in een lokaal de concentratie had zijn werk af te maken en uiteindelijk naar zijn diploma te bewegen. Als dank heb ik 1,5 jaar later een uitnodiging voor zijn 18e verjaardag gekregen. En voor vandaag, voor dit afscheid van de stille immigrant, had ik deze tekst willen schrijven in het Creool. Sterker nog, ik had hem kunnen schrijven in het Creool. Talvez ele era para escrever in het Creool. Maar de waarheid is ook dat er onder ons mensen zijn die de tekst dan niet hadden begrepen, de onderliggende boodschap niet meegekregen. Mensen die het hebben over de stille migrant als ze het hebben over zichzelf, omdat ze de taal van hun eigen hart nooit hebben leren spreken. Maar goed, we moeten door. En ik heb zoveel liefde voor mijn zuster en broeder dat ik alleen maar kan roepen: labante, labante, labante. Vandaag wordt het sprookje van de stille migrant begraven. Omdat de stille migrant nooit bestaan heeft. En tegen degene die die term ooit bedacht heeft, wil ik zeggen: wij spreken een taal die jij niet spreekt. Dames en heren, seja bem-vindo. Welcome. We are here at Komversa in Bibliotheek Theater. My name is Leo Vigilo Vieira, also known as Fij of Jodmambai Toikin and Tunite de Maria de Luzinho Chic. I will be your host for tonight, and of course I'm not going to do this by myself. I'm going to do this with a super intelligent, very lovely lady, Jane Orte. Applause for her, please. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for your beautiful spoken word.
You're welcome.
Well.
Thank you for joining me on stage.
Yes. So, welcome at Komversa. Komversa is a very interesting event because it's actually us reaching out to the diaspora of the United States. But before we start with the actually Komversa, I want to talk a little bit about Punt Zero Dash. This is organized by Punt Zero Dash, a group of Cape Verdeans who are actually looking for many ways to keep and guard our cultural heritage. And in order to find a solution and in order to look what really moves the community and how we can make sure that the future generation will have a very strong culture here in the Netherlands or elsewhere in the diaspora, we are trying to launch a product. But in order to launch that product, we have to do some research. And the research is not only for the Netherlands, we can also learn a lot about the diaspora outside of the Netherlands, outside of Cape Verde. So that's Punt Zero Dash. And naturally, it was for us the United States was the first and the only community we wanted to talk with first because they have a very large community. Definitely. They have been there for centuries. Mm-hmm. And we want to know what their secret is.
I'm very curious to know too.
what can we learn about it? So we are having a Komversa.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are we just here by ourselves in this room and the people that we were going to talk to, or are there people assisting us online, watching this online?
People are watching online as well, in the Netherlands, but also in the United States. That's why I'm not talking in Dutch.
Exactly. That's the reason we're speaking in English today, for the people that reside in the Netherlands and might be used to us speaking Dutch. That's the reason we're speaking English tonight.
Yes, it's either English or Criollo.
Creole.
The only two choices of today.
Great.
So before we start with our Komversa, we want to loosen up the crowd. And the crowd, in order to, let's see. Guys can log in first. Let's see. Yes. We have a segment called Kringlish and Kriolen Dish. Does anyone have an idea what Kriolen Dish or Kringlish is?
I know I'm fluent in Creole and this. I can speak that fluently. Yeah. I mean, that's easy, right?
It's very easy.
It's very easy. Just say words with a Cape Verdean accent.
With a Cape Verdean accent.
Yeah.
So,
Stoefzeggen, things like that.
stoelzeggen, yes.
You see?
So I have a few examples in Kringlish.
Kringlish, ooh. Okay.
Yes, and the first one, it's actually mind-blowing when I learned this. Schwinge.
What about Schwinge?
Schwinge comes
Yeah.
from chewing gum.
Oh, wow.
I was raised as, this is Schwinge.
This is a Cape Verdean word.
It's a Cape Verdean word, but the actual word is pastilla.
Okay.
So, but what if I
Live
say,
and learn.
what if I say garbage?
I have an idea. I'm looking at the audience members. Do you guys know what garbage is? Oh, somebody said garbage.
Garbage.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Ah, okay.
That's
Points
correct.
for you, sir.
Yes.
Garbage.
And if I say riet? Riet.
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 Everybody is shaking their heads in
Riet.
riet. I'm thinking about, if I hear riet, I'm thinking read. I'm reading this. I'm reading this. Riet. Ziekte. Nee?
No, subike riet. That heat.
Oh,
The heat.
snaps, the heat. Okay, I like that. I like that.
Okay, so this one is for the actually very for the diaspora of the United States.
Yeah.
Baschetti marchetti.
Could you say that again, please?
Baschetti marchetti.
No.
Basket market.
A basket market? Oh, wow.
Basket
Okay.
market. But you were you told me about a situation in Cape Verde. where you-
Yeah, exactly. I was at this restaurant once with a few friends of mine who reside in the U.S., in Brokitin to be exact, which is actually Cape Verdean for Brockton. But they were from Brokitin, and I was the one that was supposed to order drinks, and they didn't speak Creolandese, so they didn't ask me. Jabo bestille. They asked me Jabo orde, and I was like, hold up, I know what bestille is. You're from America. You probably used order and gave it a Cape Verdean accent. And I'm like, oh, orde, that's Kringlish. Okay.
Orde.
Orde,
Yes.
nice.
Orde. That's. It's funny how to see how we as Cape Verdeans we always give a little bit of Cape Verdean
Come on,
mood,
you know how we
like
do.
a
That's
little
what we
bit
have to do. We have to give some Cape Verdean spice to whatever situation we're thrown in.
Exactly. So, we are switching to Kriolen dish. We already had bestilla.
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 You know what's interesting? Bestilla is so commonly used by us Cape Verdeans in the Netherlands that Johnny Ramos even used it in his song.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am. The song is Largar, Bimbo Dançama-me. And the song, he starts the song by singing, and he enters the club. Mentra, ambistila.
No!
Shout out to Johnny Ramos. I'm a big fan of Johnny Ramos. I'm a
Wow.
fan of Johnny Ramos. It's just that people in Saint Vicente were asking me, o que bistila? I'm like,
My
And
mind
one
is
friend
blown.
said, I thought he said, pensa que ele fala pastilha. I'm like, okay.
Like I came and I took a chewing gum.
Yeah.
My mind is blown. Like how you just performed the song,
Yeah.
everything clicks.
It just came
It just clicks.
came to you, yeah.
Wow, learned something today. Thank you for that. So if I say boos, is boos a Cape Verdean word or is it Creole dish?
I'm looking at the audience. Someone is nodding. Yes, it's Cape Verdean.
Who knows the proper word? Someone said bus.
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 The Dutch word for bus, for bus. Ah,
Yes, autocarro.
autocarro.
Ja, panha autocarro.
Penha autocar. Okay.
Ganho, panha bus.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I learned the word autocar actually right there in Cape Verde when I was on the island of San Vicente, trying to get on the bus. People were asking, Ziki bus? I'm like, quel cozela? Autocar, man. Hey, brother, yeah, autocar. I'm like, okay, live and learn.
They didn't say each other bus.
Should not. Oh, you got jokes today, huh? Okay.
Just
I
one,
see-
just one, just one, just
I
one.
see where this is going.
Just one.
Okay, I'm ready for
So, if I say parcada, parcada, who remembers parcada? Still exists.
Still exists. If I would ask you guys directions for Parcada, could you send me along the way?
Where is
Send me on my way? Mais ou menos. They could send me on my way to Parcada. Mais ou menos. Okay, that's a good thing.
Where is parcada?
Per Dijkziert. Okay.
It's actually, now I'm a little bit confused because I thought it was the Euromans Park,
Yeah.
the parcada. But I see someone shaking their head. No, it's the Chinese boat.
You're right. I always, for me, it was the park. But when you look on the map, it's park, the kade.
Yeah.
So,
É daquela, mais ou menos aquele mesmo
Yes.
área. É
Yes.
de Dijkziert, tem chinês boat.
yes, so
Tudo.
a little bit of explanation for the people watching from the United States.
Yes,
So,
or somewhere else.
there is a dock called Park Dock.
Yeah.
And there is a park
Right.
behind the dock.
Exactly.
But now Cape Verde just named the park Dock. Like
Exactly,
I'm going
that's what
to
we-
have a barbecue at Dock.
Yes, Lana Parcada.
Lana
And the whole
Parcada.
thing is Parcada. When
Yes.
no distinction like this part is Parcada and this is that. Everything is Parcada.
Everything is parkada. yes.
Exactly.
So,
What else do you have for us?
Afspraken.
Come on, dog. This is too
Afspraken.
easy. Afspraken. Ja, afspraken. Een team afspraken na deur.
Afspraken.
Afspraken.
Na doutor.
Ja.
Afspraken. Who knows the correct word for afspraken?
In Creole?
In Crioulo.
Ah.
Compromisso, yes.
Compromis. Can I also say appointment? Ah, okay.
Appointment.
I always, but I've heard it from people in Cape Verde. Someone in the crowd says appointment comes from English, from appointment. But I've actually heard it in Cabo Verde that one person said appointment. So that's why I started using it.
It's more like if you want to read something, write something on paper, you need to appoint something to know it.
Oh, okay. So it's more in a written context that we would use the word appointment. And if I have an appointment at a doctor, for instance, then I don't say tenho appointment. Then I say I have a compromisso na doutor.
Compromisso na
Okay.
doutora, yes. But I'm very curious if the people in the United States say appointment também.
Nee, they say
No?
afspraken.
Afspraak.
They say afspraken too. Everybody says it.
So, we're still having some few questions for
Yeah.
you. So, let's connect. There is a QR code on the screen. You can join us live. You can leave comments. You can give likes. You can ask questions. So for the people at home, you can use the QR code
Yes, ma'am.
to join us. So I give you a little bit of time. For the people here who have problems with Wi-Fi, we have the Wi-Fi code here as well.
Fantastic. Much easier.
Yes.
Wherever I go, I'm always looking for the Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Hey, I see the likes coming in. Fantastic. Awesome.
Yes.
Let's connect.
Okay.
I'm wondering what you are coming with next. For the Kringlish versus Creole and Diz, or whatever challenge you have for us.
I have a short pop quiz.
A short pop quiz.
A short pop quiz. Because
Liking this.
we as Cape Verdeans, we are very, very prideful people.
Yeah.
And we actually have a tendency to think that I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it.
Oh, okay. Don't spoil
But
it.
I think
then.
we are so prideful
Yeah.
that we often take people.
We claim everybody. Whoever did something that's dope, that's nice, that is awesome, we claim you. Just know that.
You. Right
We're
off the
Cape
bat.
Verdean, just because, you ate cachupa once
Yes,
at a Cape Verdean's house friend. Now you're Cape Verdean too.
yes, yes, indeed.
Or you went to Cape Verde for a vacation. Did you know so-and-so? Você vê ele Cabo Verdeano? Nee, ele Cabo Verdeano. Ele tinha avô lá de cachaça em Clau. Não, ele era. Ele Cabo
That's how
Verdeano.
quickly it can go. So, should we go on to the next?
I think we should go.
We should.
Yeah, let's go.
So, for the people at home in the United States, but also for the people here in the Netherlands, we are not forgetting about you, but also the people here in the crowd. Which Cape Verdean artist is born in the Netherlands? Which one? Which of the Cape Verdean artists? It could be one, it could be
Oh,
two,
okay.
it could be three. So
Could it also be 4?
it could also be four.
Okay. And the answer to your question is answered online through?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
See
I see the answers.
Nelson, some answers.
I see Nelson Freitas, Luzana Lubrano, Nelson. Everybody knows about Nelson.
Nelson.
I mean, you guys do know Susanna Lubrano, right? Okay. Just making sure.
Oh, there are
African
people.
Singer of the Year in 2004 it was, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Singer of the Year.
Yeah.
Nelson is our pride.
Oh, that was Susanna.
Oh, Susanna. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, in
Susanna.
2004.
So Susanna, I
Yeah.
really liked the nem é sonho impossível tá consigo. Yeah.
Okay,
That
okay.
was a very,
I like
very
this.
beautiful, beautiful song. So we have Susanna Lubrano, Nelson, Grace Evra, and Gilse Medo, who was born in the Netherlands. If I say Susanna Lubrano, who says Susanna Lubrano? No?
No one here? Okay.
No?
And wish
Susanna is born in the Netherlands.
Lena Dijkzicht?
Dijkzicht.
Oh, we don't know for a fact if it really was Dijkzicht. Just to be clear.
Dijkzicht.
Yeah.
Dijkzicht, Sophia.
But we'll make it that it was Lena Dijkzicht. Yeah.
Nelson Freitas, was he born in the Netherlands or not? Who says yes? Everybody's saying yes? Yes, he's from the Netherlands.
Okay, okay.
Grace. No.
Sorry. Got carried away.
Grace. Yes, no. That's correct.
Where was he born then?
In Cabo Verde.
Oh, Cabo Verde, okay.
Cabo Verde.
Duh, makes sense.
And Juscemedo. Cape Verde, yes.
Not in Rotterdam?
Not in Rotterdam.
Hey, wow.
Lá no Cabo Verde. So, the next one. Who is an American Cape Verdean? Is it 1, Genuine? Is it 2, Michael Beach? 3, Lisai Left Eye Lopez? Or Blue Cantrell? Which one is an American Cape Verdean? And like the previous one, it can be
More than one answer?
multiple.
Okay. Multiple answers. Can be
Left Eye
correct.
Lopez.
I think I saw Genuine once. Lena Montsusek.
Yes, I heard he has family there.
Nee, precies zo como os Lena Montsusek, man.
Yeah,
Tem família por ela ou não?
yeah. He does look like a family from there.
And the second guy, that's Michael Beach, right?
Michael Beach.
Michael Beach. Come on, esse nome é Michael Praia.
Michael
outta here, man.
Beach, yes.
Lá de
It
praia.
does look like he's from Praia, yes. Someone said like John Legenda.
João Legenda.
John Legenda. Lisai Left Eye Lopez. Lopes.
Genuine is from my hood. Definitely him. Beach, Lopus, Blue.
And who says Blue Cantrell?
There's a few people.
Few people. So, Michael Beach has Cape Verdean roots.
Definitely. He's
Was-
Cape Verdean.
He was Cape Verdean, exactly, and he is also, that's how I know him, like the villain of Aquaman.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Yes. Lisai Left Eye Lopes. This one I had to fact check, but she is indeed of Cape Verdean ancestry.
Okay. Awesome.
Blue Cantrell as well. And even though a lot of Cape Verdeans used to claim Genuine, yes, they used to claim Genuine, he's not a Cape Verdean. When I grew up, everyone...
But tem certeza?
Não tenho certeza. Tenho certeza. When I was growing up, a lot of people would say, yes, Genuine is Cape Verdean, he's Cape Verdean. Look at him. And I used to think he was Cape Verdean as well, but
I mean, if you hear it so many times, you're going to think that he's Cape Verdean.
think you can
Yeah.
claim. And it's like also with, they're trying to claim J. Cole as well because of losing my balance.
Yeah. The song where he sampled the song by Sara Tavares.
Yes.
Rest in peace. And also the other song that people thought was a Cape Verdean song, which he had sampled, but actually was a sample from Guinea-Conakry.
Yes.
But it sounded Cape Verdean, so it could have been.
Could have been.
And I mean, then he he
heard-
would have been Cabo Verdeano.
They heard woy yo 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 and they thought, yes, that's Cape Verdean.
I understand.
Cape
I
Verdean.
understand. I thought the same thing for a second.
What a sample can do.
Exactly.
What a sample can
Yeah.
do. Now, Genuine. Oh, I didn't. He wasn't Cape Verdean, so I didn't look into it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think he's African American.
African American. I was like, I don't know. That's very bad of me, but my research stopped there. So we're going to introduce you to some panel members because we are here with an audience here in Bibliotheek Rotterdam, but we also have panel members of the United States because
Yes, ma'am.
we didn't flew them out,
No, we didn't.
but we have internet connection.
Exactly. Thank God for that. They will be joining us online.
Yes.
through video connection. So we have, 3 of them are already in their seats awaiting us.
Yes.
4 of us now. Hey.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone. For us, it's good evening. I'm
Boa
hearing
tarde.
that for
How
you,
you
it's
doing,
good
guys?
afternoon, or it might even be good morning.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello. Nice.
Oh,
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Boa tarde.
Boa tarde, boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
Um,
So we have a few panel members that are doing amazing work in the United States. For a lot of people that didn't know, the Cape Verdean community is 200 years old, 2 centuries old. The Minister of Community and Sea said it was even 250 years. So, for a community that has been in the United States for so long and has such a big community, you are actually wondering, what are they doing? What is their secret? Does the Cape Verdean culture look? How does it look there in the United States? And in order to answer those questions, we have invited 4 people doing amazing work.
Yeah.
We have Dr. Teresa Lima Neves, we have Adirio Mili Almeida, we have Manuel Gonçalves, Dr. Mr. Manuel Gonçalves, and we have Jaffa as well.
hi.
Hi, Jaffa Tavares. So, can you guys quickly introduce yourselves?
Shall we start with Mr. Gonçalves?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gonçalves, if you could quickly tell the audience right here in the room and also online who you are, what you've done so far, please. Thank you very much.
Obrigado, obrigado. Então começa na crioulo, depois está passar para inglês, para modificar
Tá
é
bom.
crioulo e inglês, cá?
À vontade.
Presentemente está na Cabo Verde, aqui em Cape Verde, praia. Viver na América para 43 anos, 43 years in the United States, mainly Boston, Massachusetts. As a member of the community, you know, I worked in schools as a guidance counselor, as a teacher, community advocate, worked with the Caverian Americans, you know, that link between Caverian immigrants and Caverian Americans started practically with me in the 70s. So it's been a lifelong activity in the United States, mainly Boston and around Massachusetts, work in the bilingual education as a model that we had in the United States after Portuguese was the language that we use in our bilingual Caviar and bilingual programs. And then, you know, the fight started there with Portuguese teachers, Azorians, Portuguese, continental Portuguese teaching Cavarians who basically didn't know enough Portuguese. And then there was this dynamics going on with the linguistic groups in Boston. There were different groups. At that time, there were like 16 minority groups, different languages, including Russian, Italian, Portuguese, and Cavadian, Haitian, Creole, and so forth. So our fight was, you know, we as a minority group, you know, we have to stand for our rights. And that's why, you know, we finally got the bilingual education put in place, and Creole was considered one of the living languages in Massachusetts due to our effort to connect the community and the public in general. And Creole was like this soul to connect us. Well, I live here, but with questions, I'll be answering more questions.
Yes, thank
And
you
then I
so
want to
much.
say mantenha to the word mantenha that I forgot your name, the guy, you know, your poem in Dutch and Creole was really good. I understood some. But, you know, one of the things like the mantenha is one of those words in Creole that we in the United States use it so often, even in Calverde, when, you know, we have the connection with, you know, the back and forth with the Caverian packet trade. So the mantenha and the carta, because, you know, there was the way there was no internet at those days. So carta was, you know, the mailing. was one of those things that, in terms of sending messages, and a lot of Cape Verdeans couldn't read or write, and then the person will write the letter, and then the letter was sent to the United States, and somebody in the United States would translate or the letter in Creole for those people. Anyway, I stop here and then we continue.
Yes.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you very
Gonçalves. Professor Teresa Lima Neves.
Oh,
Sorry, we can't hear. We
cannot
don't
hear
have any
you.
sound.
Yes.
1, 2,
Oh.
1, 2. Microphone check.
Hi.
No? Shall we continue to Adirio then while you mic check?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear
Yes,
us?
sir.
No, we cannot
I
hear
can
you.
hear you
I
guys.
can.
She can't hear us.
No.
No. Okay. We'll continue to Adirio,
Yes.
and then we'll come back to you, hopefully. Adirio Almeida.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Could you please introduce
You
yourself?
guys hear? Yeah, for sure. First off, guys, I definitely want to congratulate you guys on setting up this event. Very great. Leo, yeah, you know we've known each other for a very long time. Amazing job on that intro, man. That was amazing.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
And Jane, it's you know I've only met you recently, but I love the work that you're doing. So shout out to you guys for sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my name is Adirio Almeida, mostly known here in America by Millie. I'm the creator and the producer of the podcast Praça Azul. Praça Azul is a weekly podcast where we showcase Cape Verdean culture, music, social issues through interviews and debates. You know, we interview people of all talents. You know, we've had, of course, musicians on the show. We've had politicians on the show, like Tina Cardozo, Jimmy Pereira, who ran for the mayor of Brockton here. In the past, we've had Shauna Barbosa, who is an author of the Cape Verdean Blues book, which was a great effort on her part. And the goal of the show is just to create a bridge of communication, knowledge, and understanding between the new generation and the old generation. You know, people ask me all the time. The first question that I get is, "Why do you do it in English?" I mean, we do it. We do some interviews in Criollo as well, but it's mostly in English, and it's because the Cape Verdean culture is becoming so known to the rest of the world, you know, and the rest of the world doesn't really speak Criollo always. You know, you can always find an interview of any of the people that I was mentioned in Criollo, but their fans or the people that follow them or the people that are interested in our culture cannot really listen to them or cannot really understand them. So I feel that our podcast kind of creates that bridge, and hopefully we can continue to do it. You know, I was born and raised in Rotterdam, Netherlands. I moved over to Boston in 2012. Been here for 12 years. A big culture shock for sure. You know, it's America's not what you see on TV, kids. It's a bit different. It's a bit different when you're here. You know, don't get me wrong, it's a great country, but it's a big country, so
Yeah.
it's very hard to manage. You know, it's not as easy to manage a country this big compared to you know a country like Holland. And surprised that the politicians in Holland are still messing that up, but that's
Yeah.
another conversation.
Thank you for that disclaimer, though.
Thank you.
For sure, for sure. But yeah, I just hope with the work that we do that we can just bring Cape Verdean communities around the world closer to each other's experience. You know, because even though we are far apart from each other, even though our experiences are different, there's so many similarities in it. And the more that we talk to each other, the more that we teach our children, the better we can become.
Yes.
Because nós ganhamos.
That's the mission statement for Komversa.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go. Great.
Who's next? Jaffa?
Hi, everybody. It's Jaffa
Hi.
here. It's a good segue because I teach Criollo, so If anyone wants to learn Criollo, holla at your girl.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'm Jaffa, Tavares, or Josephine, but mostly if you ask Cape Verdeans Josephine, they won't know who you're talking about. So Jaffa Tavares. First of all, obrigado. É grande prazer estar ali conosco hoje. I am here in Boston, born, raised. I was born and raised in Boston, but fincado na raiz. We grew up surrounded by, my grandmother's quintal, full of babra and minju and all of that stuff. And the language was first and foremost because my family wanted us to really grow up with the connection of Cabo Verde. So my thing is the language because a lot of people feel a little timid about going to Cabo Verde or reaching out to Cape Verdean communities because they don't have the language. So my piece is really trying to get people more comfortable with Criollo, or even if you're at least trying, there's no stigma in it. If you don't know, it's like what you said, Jane. Cape Verdean's been here for a long time, and I am very proud of, Cape Verdeans that even with a little bit of Cape Verdean culture, at least keep it alive. So I try to bring the language piece so people can get a little more and more comfortable. I am an author of a children's book. It's dual language, Tiago and Vovo. It's in English, and it's a mixture of my childhood growing up, with the Criollo culture, but also as a teacher here in Boston Public Schools. I felt it's important for me to remind our beautiful children when they come, to keep that language alive. So it's a mix of those two experiences. So because it has to do with language, I did translate it with the help of Manuel de Luz Gonçalves. We translated it into Criollo using the Sotavento variation. And then my cousin Isaiah Gonçalves did the beautiful illustrations. It's a beautiful book, and I'm very proud of it. It will be a series. I'm working on that now. And so, I continue my work pushing Criollo forward, and I'm so excited to be here and kind of, connecting with you all there in the Netherlands. I hope to visit soon. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you for your work.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes.
Professor Limanevs, do we have
Please
sound
tell me
now?
you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear.
Woo! Applause,
Yes,
please.
applause.
Yes.
Y'all had me over here sweating. I was like, what am I doing wrong? I didn't follow directions. This is horrible. Primeiro de tudo, boa tarde para tudo, gente. Não, boa tarde para os outros. Ou boa noite. Boa noite para os outros.
Boa noite.
Não é better? Me é menininha de São Centro, menininha de Ribeira Bote, nascida e criada. I was born and raised in São Vicente and came to the United States as a teenager. My parents have now moved back to our home in São Centro because they said their job here is done. So goodbye. Gosh, what can I tell you? I'm unapologetically a Criolla, which means that my work, my life, everything I do centers my experiences and my commitment to center the Cape Verdean woman and to really just big her up everywhere I go. So in every room I enter, I bring all the criollas with me. Like y'all said, I'm a college professor. I teach at Johnson C. Smith University in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a historically Black university. I also attended a historically Black college for my master's and PhD. I'm a political scientist. I'm the founder of Poderosa, the international conference on Cabo Verdean women that happens every 2 years in Providence, Rhode Island. I'm the author of 2 books. The first one was on Cape Verdean women, an edited collection with my colleague and friend Amina Fernandes Pilgrim, another badass Criolla, excuse my French, or I should say, excuse my Dutch. And my second book just came out in May, and that is a beautiful collection that I'm really proud of about Cape Verdeans in the United States. So I invite those that want to, in addition to buying Jaffa's book, they should also buy my book if they want to learn a little bit more about multi-generational experiences of Cape Verdeans in the United States. I'm also Luigi's wife and the mother of Max and Emilio. That's about it.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I must say, while you, ladies and gents, were plugging and talking about your works and the things that you've done and that you continue to do, I must say I had a few heads, quite a few heads in the live audience nodding their heads enthusiastically and trying to memorize the titles of books and names and to catch them later. So I think you'll have quite a few fans after tonight, even more fans. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. So we can move to the first question.
Yes.
And I want to ask this. I want to ask Manuel Gonçalves first. What legacy has the previous generation provided that allows you to perform the work you do today?
Yes, remember I told you about Mantegna. That was one of those words that Caverians in the United States and Caverian, that connection between the two groups, Mantegna. And that was the connection. The Caverians really work hard in the United States. They were like four phases, like, the early Caverians in the 1800s really had a miserable life in the United States. And then that continue on with the whaling industry. And then, those seamen had hard time too, not just with the whaling, but also in land in the United States. And then there was another phase that a new kind of immigrants, the Cavalians, started to buy the packet trades, the boats or ships, and then their connection to Cape Verde, mainly from Providence and New Bedford and other places to Cape Verde. And then there was a stop in the immigration in the 1920s that Cape Verdeans really suffered. That saudade that the Cape Verdeans do have between themselves and the islands, that there was some kind of stoppage there because, in the 1920, 1921, and so forth. And then until 1965, with Kennedy, there was a new immigration law that really Caverians started to immigrate. In fact, the Caverians are one of the few group of the African ancestry that really migrated, not as slaves, but there were Caverians who brought some slaves too to the United States during that slavery time. And these were called the Brancos de Terra, the whites that were born from Portuguese and African women, and they were considered or called Brancos de Terra. But they themselves didn't go to the United States. All the black men, the Cape Verde, the younger men, the black men that went to Cape Verde. And later on with the package trade, the Cape Verdeans were called os Bravas. Bravas, mainly from Brava. And the name Bravas was in synonym with the Cape Verdeans, but they were mainly from Brava. And they're the ones who bought these ships and then started to um, travel back and forth to Cape Verde with, of course, food and other supplies. Remember, there was famine in Cape Verde. So during those days, they were really brave on traveling across the Atlantic. Unfortunately, during the colonial times, the Portuguese didn't do much In fact, they were Cape Verdean Americans, and Americans themselves went to Cape Verde to really help the people that were suffering hunger and so forth. So that's the roots that the Cape Verdean after 1965. And of course, with the independence, everything started to move on in our good direction. You know, when Cape Verde became independent in 1975, the Portuguese quota was like 200 in numbers for per year. So after the independence, it started 5,000, 10,000, and on and on and on. Like today, I'm not sure, but there's more than 500 or more Caverians in the United States, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Um, is that correct, Ms. Dr. Lima Neves?
Yes, it is.
So,
We have registered numbers, but we also know that we have informal numbers that do not capture the undocumented immigrants from
Oh.
our country.
exactly. Because, you know, they were, when they left Cabo Verde, there was a number. When they went to the United States, there was a different number. Some were illegal, were not counted. Some were kind of brancos de terra, whites from Brava. They would consider Europeans. So that kind of exchange between numbers and colors of people and so forth. So that was a big problem. There was another immigration impact was in 1920 or so, there was a law that prohibited color people to enter the United States. There was another law, if you couldn't read or write, you couldn't enter the United States. You know, all these things, but the Caverians were really resistant and resilient to all these obstacles, and then they finally made their lives, you know. And I keep on saying Mantegna because that Mantegna became really a reality that, you know, they were connected back and forth after 1965. And of course, after the independence, um, Caverians were more free to travel to the United States. And to me, uh, when I went to the United States, I'm in Cabo Verde now, there was still, you know, during the independence, but there were still the mentality. We were Portuguese, everything was in Portuguese, and there was a battle, even in the United States, among us Cavedians, to define who we were in terms of identity, in terms of our own culture, our own language. And that's why, you know, I became an activist and went on with education and bilingual education, all that, just to make sure we had the same rights as the other groups in terms of education, in terms of access to housing and health issues, all that. So it's just amazing. I have Joff as my niece there. That, you know, after we started to celebrate our culture, our language, and then with even Cavalian Americans, you know, remember that Cavalian Americans had other issues. Even that's why, you know, it's so helpful today to teach the language to Cavalian Americans who are not allowed to speak or to learn their own language. So
Yes.
let's see, not Liza, Liza is my daughter, but Jaffa with their passion to teach Creole as make sure that our new generation of Cavalians in America stay well in terms of their identity, language, and education.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the answers. Actually, something that I recognize with the identity
Yeah.
that was also very confusing here for some in Rotterdam when it comes to being Portuguese or being African. People were Cape Verdean,
Yeah.
but the Africanness was a little bit of a tough pill for some to swallow.
That was a tough pill for some people to swallow. So this explanation of Senora Gonçalves for me is something that I recognize very much, because growing up and identifying myself as an African at times could be a hot topic for discussion. So I find it interesting to see that we share these experiences,
Yes.
similarities across various continents. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm going to put Millie in the hot seat now
Oi.
Oh, yeah.
because Rotterdam is known as the 11th island. Is it really?
I'm looking at you, Millie.
Is it really? Oh, we have to look there in the,
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
oh, yeah,
camera.
my
Is
bad.
it really?
Rotterdam being the 11th island? Nah, I wouldn't say that.
He's afraid
That's a
because he
bit.
has to walk around Brokiti.
Brokiti, yes.
No. I kind of forgot how cocky the people from Rotterdam could be. You know,
Very
there,
much.
there is there are many communities, guys, around the world. You know, I know Rotterdam is definitely one of the Hollywood places of Cape Verdeans. You know, I mean, even here in America, people tell me all the time, I can't wait to go to Rotterdam. I can't wait to go there. I can't wait to go to the parties, you know, and I always have to break their hearts and tell them, hey, it's not like that anymore.
Don't. Come on, man.
But
Don't.
it's no, come on, Rotterdam is still, you know, just the city by itself. Even if you take the CV out of it, you know, it's still one of the greatest cities in the world for sure. And I miss it dearly. But yeah, man, it's a great place. I just wish that we hadn't let go of some of the things that we were born with, you know, or we had when we were raised
Could you name a few?
in our childhood. Well, you said it in your intro, you know, in Upincha, you had, you know, associations where not only our fathers would go, but where all
Yeah.
families would go, where we would learn how to speak Criollo, where we would learn how to play instruments. And if I'm ignorant to the fact that it's still happening, I apologize. But every time I go to back to Rotterdam, it's you know, it feels like it's been how do you say that? You know, like
It's
the water, like
disappearing?
it's been watered down, like it's been watered down. You know,
Okay. I
it's
understand
been
what you're
watered down
saying.
a
Yeah.
little bit, and I felt that back then we had more of a community. We had more places where we could go and identify with each other. You know, and
Yeah.
yeah, I hope it comes back. You know, I hope with the help of you guys, you know, the help of you know initiatives like this, we can come a little closer together because that is very important. You know, that identity. That I remember like this
Can I
story
ask you
always
a
stays
thing?
with me.
Can I ask you a thing? What would be needed
Sure.
for it to come back?
We need to be better teachers, and they need to be better students.
Okay.
You know, the new generation needs to learn a bit more about what it is to be a Cape Verdean, you know, what it
Yeah.
is to be, also what it is just to be alive. You know, I hear some of these kids talk. I even saw a quote the other day about a kid talking. I didn't, you know, I didn't ask to come here. You know, I didn't ask to be your son. You're the one that, so,
Yeah.
you know, you have to be responsible for me. And I'm like, that's like such a, you know, that's like such a cocky thing to say because, you know, if you only look at life and see that it's a one in a billion shot that you actually are alive, you know, that's already big. And the fact also is that your parents don't just raise you when you're a kid. You know, your
Mm.
parents are there when you're 5, your parents are there when you're 10. When you graduate college and you want to start that business, they're the ones that are going to give you the money. When your business fails, they're the ones that are going to take you back. When when you marry that girl, they're the ones that are going to pay for it. When she breaks up with
Yeah.
you, they're the ones that are going to take you back. So your parents are there for life, you know. So they should definitely honor their parents a bit more and their heritage a bit more. And we, as parents, need to be just a little bit more patient and a little bit more understanding of their world as well. It's much quicker. Just saying, just sticking to traditions without adjusting traditions is never going to work. They're not going to listen to us. So we definitely need to be better with that. And yeah, man, like I said, this story always sticks with me. My mom, when I was young, she would always take me everywhere with her, and I got to a point where I got so sick of it, and I just yelled at her. I said, well, not yelled at her because you know what comes with that, but I raised my voice a little bit, and I told her, Mom, I don't want to go with you to the supermarket. Nunca queria mais vou what do you call it,
Als van der
feira. I
Geit.
don't want to
Merca.
go. And yeah. And she was like, what do you mean, Dika? My mom calls me Dika. And I said, well, every person that you see on the street, you stop and talk to them for like a half hour. Like, how do you know all these Cape Verdeans, you
De
know?
Montaigne.
And she looked at me and she sat me down and she looked at me and she said, Dika, minka de conche, tudo que escriol como tu na rua, you know? Mas nós crioulo, nós é de um país pequenininho e não está longe dos países, you know? Se não junta companheiro, it we have to get together so that we can be stronger with each other, and that always stick to me, and I just hope that we do more of that for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So would it be safe to say we have to recognize that we have a responsibility to continue
Oh
to,
yes,
to
yeah.
learn?
Yes, if we care about Cape Verde, if we care about the country, the culture, the beautiful people, if we care about that, definitely, bring your kids to Cape Verde. I think that one biggest revolution that we need to start is against these airlines that charge us like ridiculous to go to Cape Verde, because my the biggest thing that I learned about being Cape Verdean was in Cape Verde. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm talking Verde without electricity, Cape Verde without running water. And that was the best time I ever had in my life. Just walking down to the well, grabbing water, coming up to lava cara, lava corpo, lava dent with one bucket. Being somewhere and saying, "Oh God, we got to go because it's about to be dark." Like that's where you find your true identity. And we need to be able to do that with our kids, and hopefully we can, and hopefully they'll also, especially we'll find the patience to teach them the language, because I am really bad with that as well, and a lot of my friends are the same. So hopefully by visiting the country we can do that more.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your answer. Now, questions from the audience. Are there questions so far?
Are there any questions from the audience? Could also be online, people in the room.
In the room, having questions?
No?
Give me
Okay.
10, 9,
Are you
8,
doing the countdown?
7, 6,
Agora contando em crioulo.
10, 9,
Olha.
8, 7, 6,
Oh, okay, we have questions in the audience, okay.
4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, zero. Yeah.
Zero dash, yeah.
Zero dash. Sim. So we're going to the next
No,
question.
hold up. Espera.
Oh, sorry.
We have questions in the
Desculpa,
live
desculpa.
audience.
I know we're talking about you feeling Cape Verdean, but you're in America. How do you feel? Do you feel like you're an American, or do you feel like I'm an American Cape Verdean, or I feel like I'm a Cape Verdean? Just curious about that.
Is there a person in particular that you're asking this to?
No, to all of them.
Whomever wants to answer.
I mean, I could go because I am Cape Verdean through and through. I speak Criollo, even if you don't speak Criollo. Every day as I go into work, I say "Bom dia, como que está?" And the people that have been working with me for 5 years, they stopped saying, "What does that mean?" It is who I am. I have my burash, and the work I do it constantly. I feed myself constant the culture. I visit Cabo Verde once a year, and yes, I agree with the prices. It's crazy. So the work we do as Mili Mila is really to bring in, even if you're not Cape Verdean, because we see the love people have for the culture, for the food, for the language. So the work we do is really to support that. So even though I was born here, and I have a poem that says, "Nasce longe de lá, mas Cabo Verde é dentro de mim," because
Yeah.
this is how I live, and it's when within me. When I first reached Cabo Verde, I was an adult, And when I got there, I felt like I was there before. So I think it's one of the things that push our work forward as we develop resources for people to learn Criollo. We just launched an app this past March, a Speak Criollo app that you can access on your phone for Apple uses, iPhone uses, Android, Team Droid. Um, but it is alive within me, and I share it. I share it with everybody. So I think that that's one of the key pieces. And everybody that knows me, they always say, "Oh, aren't you that Criolla girl? Aren't you the Criollo Basics girl?" Because this is what my identity is rooted in that. So.
Yes, thank you for your answer. And just to follow up with the different question, because I see the pride and I see how enthusiastic you are talking about this. And how does the culture look like in your environment? Is it easy to maintain your heritage? Are other people helping you with that, or is it something you are, yeah, carrying on your back at this moment with Senor Gonçalves?
Well, yes, Manel actually, this is where a lot of it comes from because I grew up within, that piece of really advocating for Cape Verdeans here in Boston. I am very fortunate, and I say it all the time. I'm very thankful for how I grew up. I could walk right outside my house right now, and there's Cape Verdean speaking Criollo, and it's like, we speak to each other, bon dia, boa tarde, whatever. So I'm very fortunate. There's lots of little groups that work with, creating the spaces of, bringing Cabo Verdeanos together. It could be the church, St. Patrick's right up the street from me. It could be the Cape Verdean Associations Network that, you know, they have the Cabral Institute. So I have it around me. The one thing that I say in terms of what I do is really I try to support. I do a Cape Verdean owned challenge every year in February to show that we have Cape Verdean businesses here in our neighborhood. I went to Brockton last year to show it from Brockton angle as well. And I'm trying to, bridge our communities here, because, there are people working so hard to support the Cape Verdean community. But how amazing would it be for us to kind of then work together? Um, so, I'm again very fortunate that it is my work is easier because I'm surrounded by Cape Verdeans. It is changing with gentrification, but
Mm,
I think that with my enthusiasm, I'm seeing it in how people respond to it. They get excited. I wear stuff like this all the time, so I can't deny my identity.
Is,
But people do respond to it.
is that Mili Mila merchandise?
Yeah, this is Mili Mila merch. It's our new T-shirt. It's going up online this week. The president, Jose Maria Neves, has a selfie with it on.
Okay.
We're really, and this T-shirt actually kind of represents what we're about, bringing together our community. It's in all the languages that, I mean, technically it's Cabo Verde,
Yeah.
um, you know, but
yes,
these are the communities where we are. It's in Dutch, it's in French, it's in Italian,
yes,
even in Chinese, because we want to show that our people are everywhere,
yes,
and it's and bringing it together. So that's why it makes me really excited when we let go those little pieces of differences like variation, or like I grew up with this or that. When we let go of that, it's such an honor to like, wow, you're from Cape Verdean heritage. So that's the piece I focus on.
yes. Thank you so much.
Beautifully said.
Cabo-Verdianos espalharam no mundo, really. And
Mm, that's
We had one more question
okay, one more question.
from the audience. Is there time for that?
Okay, we can you hold your question for a second so we can? I'm going to continue with this question and then we can. I can answer the question. So, um, This one I want to ask to Dr. Lima Neves. Do you think that the American identity plays a significant role in in the formation of the Cape Verdean identity in the United States?
Oh, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, now now I'm traumatized, so I have to ask first. So one of the things that I talk about in my research is the fact that regardless of where we go as Creoles, we are impacted by our host country. So the reality of, excuse me, the reality of Creoles in Holland looks different than the reality of the Creoles in Italy, for example, in France or the United States, because of the way that the host country is set up. And so I think that out of necessity and out of reasons to sort of like survive and thrive, that American culture, there's no way that it doesn't sip into to your identity. Now, the extent to which it plays a role, whether very significant or not, that depends on the specific person. So, for example, you have a lot of Cape Verdeans who live in the New England area. They're very insular. They really enjoy being within the Cape Verdean community. They are not going to venture off and do quote unquote American things, right? Like eat apple pie or go do other things that, go to a baseball game, for example. They prefer the local restaurants and hanging out, the kitchen parties and all of that. And I bet it sort of looks a little bit different when you go to the other diaspora locations. But I really think that each host country has an impact on the way that the immigrant community behaves or becomes in terms of like their identity. I really think that you can't help it. You can't help it because there are things socially, economically, and politically that you have to get used to in order to survive in that particular country.
Okay, thank you for your answer. What I've noticed, like in the Netherlands, if you tell a Cape Verdean in the Netherlands they are Dutch, they quickly say, "No, I'm not Dutch. I'm Cape Verdean." But if you tell them they are from Rotterdam, they embrace that identity. Is that the same way in the United States as well? Do people have a view of being, have an opinion of being viewed as an American? Or
Or would they embrace that?
would they embrace the American identity?
I think that there's no one answer that I can give you. I can tell you that I think it depends on the generation. I've seen Cape Verdean Americans, third generation in the United States, call themselves Cape Verdean, period. So I really think that there's a few things that it depends on. I think it depends again on generation, the extent to which the person was exposed to Cape Verdean culture and Cape Verdean society in their home. And so, for example, I think about my kids who were born here in Charlotte, North Carolina. They say that they are Cape Verdean. They said, "Me, no, I'm from Cape Verde, but I was born in Charlotte." So it's really interesting that they see Cape Verde, they see themselves as Cape Verdean first. They just happen to have been born in Charlotte. The other thing that I noticed too is the way that you phrase. I'm looking at the question right now, and it says American Cape Verdean. So we tend to use Cape Verdean American. I think the order is very important there.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's very intentional. Like there is, when it comes to identity, when you're saying you're American Cape Verdean, that means you're putting your American identity first. So the
ooh,
order of such matters a lot. So, for example, let me say African Americans. Black Americans in the United States will never say American Africans. So the order is extremely important. So I call myself a Cape Verdean in America. I'm not a Cape Verdean American because I was born and raised in Cape Verde, but I'm a Cape Verdean in America, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect
Okay,
sense.
makes sense, makes sense.
And the interesting fact is that in Dutch is the other way around. So I could say that I'm trying to see how I can translate this to English quickly and still have it make sense. But if I were to say, I've actually had the same thing live on the radio once when I was there as a guest, and they called me a Kaapverdiaanse Rotterdammer, which is a person from Rotterdam of Cape Verdean descent, you know, more or less. And I turned it the other way around. I said, no, I'm a Rotterdamse Kaapverdiaan. I'm a Cape Verdean who resides in Rotterdam, so to speak, even though I was born and raised here. So it's the same thing, but just the other way around. So sometimes
The
we'll
reverse.
translate it from Dutch to English, thinking, okay, I think we pinpointed
Yes.
phrasing it like this.
And
So
that
thank you
goes
very
back
much for this.
to and that goes back to what I was saying about your identity formation matters based on your host country. So language is extremely important, as Senor Manuel and Jaffa have pointed out. Language, our language, sometimes, not sometimes, as they've shown, language impacts our self-identity and how we say who we are.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Question from the audience.
No,
No, they cannot
they
hear you.
cannot. Only us can hear you. Only we can hear you. There she is.
So my question is, when you come to the Netherlands and you want to meet Cape Verdean people, you come to Rotterdam. There are a few places I can tell you. You know, you go there, you meet a lot of Cape Verdean people. There you go and you meet a lot of Cape Verdean people. But when we go to America, where do we go to meet like Cape Verdean people? Because the country is so big.
Who is this question to?
I don't know. Somebody.
Whoever feels like asking the question. I think she has a trip planned to the U.S.
Yes.
She's just trying to see where she goes
I
first.
do. I don't want to go like to New York and not meet not a single Cape Verdean. So tell me, like, you go there and then.
Might be a little biased. You got me in Boston and Amelia in Brockton, so I don't know.
Yeah. No, I can. I'll give you guys. I'll give you guys my experience. Yeah, you're not gonna find Cape Verdeans in New York, really. You'll find a lot in New Jersey. There's a community there for sure. But New York is not the stamp. It's mostly, from my experience, mostly been Massachusetts, Rhode Island for sure, and what is it, Connecticut? Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Connecticut,
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Yeah.
I could even narrow
It's
it to
mainly
say,
East Coast and West Coast.
yeah.
Yeah, for
But I
sure,
would
for sure, for
narrow
sure,
it
for
down
sure.
because I think in Connecticut, like Connecticut, we have Norwich, we have Bridgeport, you know, and then
Yep.
here in
Waterbury.
Yeah. Yep.
Boston, Brockton, Bedford,
Yep. For sure.
you know, and then Rhode Island, of course, you have Pawtucket, Providence. So, you know, it's very specific because it looks different, right? So,
Yeah,
like
for
here
sure.
in Boston, Dorchester, Crooksbury. So it is
It's the
very
same thing as
specific.
saying Marconi Plein, guys. Marconi Plein.
Koningplein, Delfshaven, Nieuw-Binieweg.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And I would like to add to what Jaffa just said. You don't have to go to a specific place because that's one thing that I feel that people in the Netherlands and I think all the other countries in Europe as well don't realize about America. America is by far one of the most evolved Cape Verdean business countries that I've ever been to. Where will you meet Cape Verdeans? You'll meet Cape Verdeans at the supermarket, Vicente, which is just as big as the Bos van der Heide that you guys got. You'll go into Vicente and they'll be playing Cesaria and Lobo, and everybody there is Cape Verdean. You'll go into the hospitals and the people that you see there are Cape Verdeans. You call the hospital and it's number one for English, number two for Creole Portuguese. So it's so much evolved that I haven't seen in other countries. So when you get here, believe me, you'll find Cape Verdeans everywhere.
And I just want to just really quickly say, there are Cape Verdeans in New York. I mean, I met some amazing people when I went to the
My
Tunis.
daughter lives there.
Yeah.
And yeah,
My sister
Liza,
lives there.
our creative director for Mili Milan, she just opened the Art and Sound Gallery right in Brooklyn.
Oh, that's nice.
And they have a WhatsApp group. So it's pretty cool to actually see these pockets of Cape Verdeans. And when you run into them, it's amazing because there's just all love. And it's like
Yeah.
our hashtag Chuntamo,
Yeah.
because it's like, really just showing how, and it doesn't really matter where you're from. It's Cabo Verde, the time
Yeah.
factor, right? So it's a
Yeah,
beautiful
for sure.
thing. So
For
shout out
sure.
to the Cape Verde in New York.
In New York, yeah. No, you're definitely gonna
And can I
find
put
Cape
in a
Verdeans
plug for us
everywhere.
in the South? Can I put in
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
a
that
short plug for us
Yes.
in the South?
for sure.
The
For sure.
community in the South is growing. We are in Florida, and then we have Cape Verdeans of Atlanta in Atlanta, Georgia. We have Cape
You
Verdeans
have
of the
your picnic.
Carolinas. Yes, that Atlanta
Yeah.
picnic is off the chain. It's really
yeah, I'm
good.
trying to get
And
there.
yeah, so I wanted to give a little plug for us in the South. We're coming up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
because
Yeah, and I'm
online
really
I've seen your organization or the group called Cape Verdeans of the Carolinas. So you can also
Yes.
Okay.
visit the
Yeah.
Carolinas.
and
Yeah,
No,
don't
Cape
forget
no,
to
Cape Verdeans are everywhere, yo.
you gotta
Cape
give a
Verdeans are
shout
really
I
out
can
to
see
everywhere.
it in
the
her eyes.
West
She's planning on
Coast.
a road trip now. She's gonna hit the road.
The West
We
Coast have
we're here.
the LA, it's South LA, and even now we're growing into North
Yep.
California. So, I mean, there's a beautiful group out there doing amazing, of really enriching the culture out there, because you are far removed from Floridians. So, shout out to SoCal and all the folks up in California. So, amazing work that they're doing.
For
That's what's
sure.
up. Thank you.
Yes.
And,
Thank
and
you.
we have a wine called Sosab in Napa Valley,
Uh,
California.
Yes.
The
Nice. Thank you.
So, the next question is actually a little bit answered.
This one was
Also already.
kind of answered already,
Kind of
right?
answered already. I do think it's very interesting because here in the Netherlands we have different island groups. So we have Barlavento, Sotavento, and I'm just curious about Cape Verde. Which islands have like the biggest community and has a lot of influence on the Criollo there?
Yeah, and also
Someone can answer that.
yeah, and also is there because I've also met people from different diaspora in other countries, and they all had almost like one single accent. Everybody spoke Sotavento Criollo, even though you were from San Vicente or San Nicolau. It was like, nah, over here we speak
Yes.
strictly Sotavento Criollo. And I've met a person from Broquitin who spoke, and she was from San Vicente, San Nicolau, but spoke not with a San Vicente, San Nicolau accent. What is it like over there for you guys? What is your experience? Who can answer this question?
I would like to ask this to Terza.
Yeah?
Yes. Who did you have in mind? You can,
It's
you
a
can,
I didn't have
it's a
anybody in mind.
language question. I'm like, that's a language question. I defer to the expert in the room.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna say
Yes.
Sure
Senor
thing, that's cool.
Manuel, and then Senor Manuel or Jaffa.
Yes. Okay. That's
yeah,
okay. Senor Gonçalves.
you know the numbers do count. In Boston, for example, you find more people from Fogo, and then you notice the accent, the variation, the do. Fogo is the only island that instead no or no we say do tabar, do stabar. You find it that in Boston, Brockton, most of Massachusetts. It's mostly Fogo and Brava, now São Vicente. But the good thing about it is that that connection, that mixagination of these different variations into one. It's there's no question anymore about bobo catapapi crioulo, crioulo é língua, boi de boi cabali. So we have it as one, and then that wealth of beauty of speaking the language in a different ways, in different forms. That's what makes Cape Verdean Creole beautiful. Cesaria Evora went to the world and she sang in different variations, but in Creole. That was the best that Cesaria could offer uh, to the world and to Calvert. This variety, but the unity of the language. There's one language, Creole, in different beauty ways of saying the same thing. You know, uh, as long people understand that, there's no problem between Sotavento or Barlavento, because from Santanton to Jabraba, it's ours. It's our Creole. It's very
Yes.
powerful. We have it in Morna. It's not just the language; it's the food. Cachupa, for example. Cachupa from some sense is different from Jabravo, Fogo, or Santiago, but it's cachupa. That kind of analogy that we have these variations. And again, it's the beauty as we understand it, and then there's no problem of comprehending the different ways of speaking the same language.
Yes.
I love
Did
it.
Thank
I
you. I love
answer
it's
the
a beautiful
Yes.
question?
answer.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
answer.
Can I follow up really quick with that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
So, very briefly, there's a chapter in my second book where Kriala, she just finished her master's degree at Harvard, Tamika Amadou, she has a chapter specifically talking about what Senor Manuel just said about food. The wars on Facebook, for example, of which one is it Manchupa? Is it Cachupa? Is it Jagasida? Is it Jag? Because words transform when they arrive in the United States. So Jugasida then transformed into Jag. So we have these Cape Verdean American wars. But Tamika's point in the chapter was that it's it's all good because it's all Creole. Tudo é jeito nossa. Quando não começa a brigar, porque modo o senhor Manuel dizer, São Sente, de Sintanton para Brava, é a mesma coisa que eu dizer, não diferença. So she really does a good job with the research in offering the origins of the foods and of the names, but also coming to the conclusion that can we all just get along?
Yes.
Real
Thank
for real.
you. Thank
That's
you.
that's it
Beautiful
perfectly.
answer. Yes. Yeah, this one is actually for the entire panel. Could you name an example and a challenge regards the cultural heritage in your city or states? Jaffa, you can you can start.
Well, okay. I think so I mean, I always refer back to the language because that's what I love. I think the challenge is right now, like really, continuing the language with this younger generation. My kids, all four of my children, are all adults now. They all speak Criollo. They don't live in, well, one lives in Boston, but my other three lives away. So they're not always around Cape Verdeans, so they start to, lose some of the Creole, but as soon as they come home, it comes right back. Um, and I think the challenge right now is to continue, especially when you have like these younger parents with children, they speak English. How do you continue the language? And my thing is like I do teach Creole basics online, and it's mostly adults. I think my youngest student has been about 12, 13. I'm working with the city of Boston to put together a course for children specifically for school age, kindergarten through 12th grade. So hopefully that will be soon. I'm really trying to do it so that it's at no cost to families because too many times, people that can't afford it are able to access all these awesome things, and yet it leaves out so many of, our demographic. I think that that's one piece. And the reason why I'm so like big on the language is because hearing the older folks, the grandparents, hearing them speak in Creole and not understanding them, these young kids are like, I don't know what my grandmother is saying. That part. And I think that the pieces, and I appreciate, these older folks really trying to learn English to communicate with these younger generation. But I feel like not only are we working for these kids to learn Criollo, but also it shows in the excitement they have, right? Because it grows a connection now to this, maybe they've never been to Cabo Verde, but then they have this language. It's almost like the secret society. So I think that that's one of the key pieces. And it is a challenge because, families are working really hard now with economy and how everything is. It's very hard, but there are efforts, and I appreciate now that we have online, and hopefully Boston, come on Boston, let's do this. I really want to be able to do it, for children especially. So if people call Boston, tell them Jaffa's ready, to bring it to life for children. So that's
Yeah.
one
I'm
of the
definitely
bigger
going to
challenges.
call some Bostonians
Yes.
to
Yes,
throw their
thank
two
you.
cents in. But Joff, I have a quick question because I feel inspired by your story now. You, as a mother of four, you said. I'm a father of three,
Yeah.
but I want to start small. So, if I were to walk into your household, at least back in the days when your kids were still living at home, what would the language of choice be? Would it be in Creole? Would it be in English? Could you could you take me on a journey? Tell me what
Okay,
was it like?
like I said earlier, I am very fortunate because my kids grew up the same way I did. Right. So in the neighborhood with Cape Verdean, we were surrounded by Cape Verdeans. We went to church with Cape Verdeans. I coached soccer, little league with Cape Verdean kids. We used to pull them into a van and bring them to games. And when people saw us coming, they were like, "Oh, here comes the Cape Verdeans," and us with soccer. Um, so my kids grew up how I did. And our language at home was Criollo. Yes, it was English as well. But my firstborn, Alec, who's he's in his 30s now. I won't say how old he is, just because that'll age me. But he he grew up with his first language was Criollo, just like I did. And when he got to school, they were going to place him in bilingual education because he didn't speak any English. So again, I say I am very fortunate because it's not a usual story. Being being first generation in America, and my son second generation, you won't really find it. But because of the values that I was raised with and in the community I was raised in, and really I wanted to stay in my community because of that. So I'm very lucky in that instance.
Yes. Thank you for your answer. I
Very
love that
inspired.
question. You
I'm
were
going home and speak Creole with my kids.
Yes, because you
That's
actually
what's
read
up.
my mind with that. Like I was hearing the same thing. Like I hear a lot of people in the Netherlands find it very hard to maintain the Criollo language because it's easier to talk Dutch.
Exactly, especially when the kids go to school and hear Dutch the whole day, and even amongst each other, the brothers and sisters will speak in Dutch, and then here I come barging in speaking Creole, and then my daughter says, "Papa, why are you speaking Spanish?" And
Oh, that
dagger to the
hurts.
heart.
That
You know,
hurts. That hurts. Fun
yeah,
fact, though, when I was hosting I was in the organization of Wij zijn Cabo Kids, like
yeah.
we are Cape Verdean children, and there were a few children on stage, and we asked them, "Do you know any Cape Verdean words?" And like three kids said, "Kalabaka."
Oh snap! Okay,
Like
that's always
three.
the first thing that we learn somehow. I
The
don't know
first,
why.
so it's easy to talk in Dutch, but some things the parents say in Criollo.
Yeah,
It's like it's
I won't use that word though.
no, no,
No,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no, no, no. It's a generational curse we need to break.
Yeah, that's the one that we're definitely going to break.
So, questions for the audience?
No questions?
No questions. Questions from
Online audiences?
online
No?
audiences?
Okay.
No.
Gives us
Okay.
more time to.
Oh,
Oh, one coming in.
laugh emoji.
Should we just stand still? Someone is enjoying themselves.
Okay. Now, why should there be an urgency to maintain our heritage to connect with one another? You can.
Yeah. Why should there be an urgency to do so?
Do you feel? Does the panel feel there is an urgency to maintain our
It
heritage?
is urgent.
There's
It
a
is
Limonez,
urgent.
she's
I think that
nodding her head, yeah?
it is.
Very much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's urgent because what's at stake here is our national memory. And we're having a conflict of identities. I think that people should be free to be who they want to be and express themselves however they see fit. But there's a problem when governments and state agencies sort of dictate what information gets put out to to students, for example. So and what is taught in the system. And so I'm very concerned about our national memory, about the stories that we tell our children so they can tell their children, and so on and so on. We want these stories to be about different experiences, and I'm very concerned that there are not enough varied stories out there, and that our educational system doesn't do our history justice. So it's one of the things that I'm, as a scholar, but even as a Creole, I'm concerned about that. For example, remember I told you everything, everything Creole. One of the things that that I'm very concerned about is how we don't speak about the women who fought in the independence movement, so independence struggle. So we talk about it, but to a certain degree. You see us, a lot of us women scholars and women activists pushing for us to do more to recognize women like, Zezinha Chantre and Paula Duarte and all the other women, Isaura Gomes. But we seem to elevate mostly of the male figures. No shade. Obviously, Cabral did the thing. Aristides Pereira did the thing. But there's so many women out there. And as a matter of fact, Cabral's widow came to the United States because there's a group of women here centered in New Bedford, Massachusetts, that are working to center the experiences of women in the struggle, women warriors. That's the name of the project. And they have a Facebook group. So that, to me, is one of the things that I worry about, how the experiences and the contributions of Cape Verdean women in the struggle, if we don't tell it, that story will be lost. Because I'm thinking about aquele crioulinho na escola, será que tu vi história te inspirar para continuar a estudar, para dizer, wow, I come from really badass people. Like I'm really dope because the women fought. If she doesn't know the story, she doesn't know that it exists. And yeah, I'm hella worried about that.
Yes. Quick question. What's the name of the Facebook group?
You read my mind.
Cabo Verde and Guinea-Bissau women warriors.
Cabo Verde and Guinea-Bissau, women warriors.
Women warriors.
Okay,
Yes.
we
Thank
got
you
that.
so much for
Yes.
sharing that.
Poder complementa bocadinho que aqui Lima falou.
Sim.
No currículo de Cabo Verde, no sistema de educação, que tem nada ainda, nem de mulher, nem de homem, nem de cabrão. Infelizmente, a educação na Cabo Verde está de que mais pior talvez que a pode ter, para uma pessoa, nós políticos, nós governos, está nega a nossa história, desde o princípio até gosta. Então, se escola que está a fazer essa introdução de nossa história, desde o princípio, que tem nada assim substancial para fazer que meninos, nós alunos, tenham alguma consciência coletiva de que é nosso Cabo Verde. Infelizmente, é assim que está acontecendo a Cabo Verde, e gente que se dá conta. Gente que gente cabo-verdiano, povo, gente de política, que se dá conta. Eles estão bem conforme eles querem. E que ele é um mal para a formação de nossa identidade, de nossos alunos, que começa a sair vazio, ou que quer fazer liceu ou vai para a universidade. E às vezes nem na universidade se cata aprendeu um bocadinho de nossa história. Infelizmente.
Infelizmente. For the people that didn't understand that, Senhor Gonçalves actually.
I'm sorry.
Cada fazer nada.
Yeah.
We are here
Yeah.
to support you, sir. So he actually basically said that even in the schools of Cape Verde, there isn't an absence of information that tells the story, our history, and it's not like it's something that the political doesn't support, and there are lots of children also in Cape Verde, but also if the children of Cape Verde doesn't learn the history, automatically we won't learn the history as well. But the children won't hear the history, and that's one of the main reasons how, not main reasons, but is one of the main concerns about our history and how we can
Exactly.
continue our culture.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a question
We
from
have
the
a
audience.
question.
Is there a microphone available? Yes, microphone is on the way.
So, yeah, thank you for the opportunity to respond. So, saying that the government has nothing about Cabral, nothing about children, nothing about history, it's pretty bold. Is there room for some nuance? Because I actually was doing some research on a history course workshop that I was doing, and I connected with my cousin. She works in Portnov in what is it? School education, and she directed me to the website of the Ministerio de Cultura, and they have some curriculum. They have basic editores in Cabo Verde that publish school books, etc., etc. I have not been able to follow up on it, but saying that there's nothing is kind of bold. Could we get some nuance?
Well, the thing is that Mr. Gonçalves
Yeah.
seems to have lost connection.
Yes.
Perhaps Teresa, you just said yeah right now. Perhaps you want to answer the question.
Yeah,
Thank you for your question.
I wouldn't say that there's nothing because that would not be correct. And well, I can't. I'll wait until he comes back and then
Yeah.
he can speak for himself. But I don't think that there's. I don't think that there's nothing. I think that there's no emphasis, and there's no concerted effort. I think that that's what needs to take place. It needs to be more than something for photo opportunities or just to say that it's there. But I think there needs to be more intentional effort at all levels, not just the university level, to really educate our students about our own history. This is from research. This is from me going on one of the main ways that Cape Verdeans communicate, which is Facebook. You see the comments there. I visit Facebook pages that are in Cape Verde, and I'm seeing all the comments and the concerns. And so there may be pockets of examples, as you mentioned. You know, you mentioned your example in Port Novo, but I'm talking about at the national level, in every single island that has schools where children are supposed to be learning about this sense of pride for who they are. I think we're missing the mark there, and that is what's creating part of the issue of identity. How can you really say that you're proud to be something and be of something if you are not exactly sure about the history of what that something is?
Yes.
That needs to be a national conversation, and that needs to be intentional. So yes, there are examples and there are anecdotal stories that we all, I have friends in Cape Verde who are doing the work in the community, right? But they have organizations.
Yeah.
Ultimately, whoever is responsible for designing curriculum has a huge role to play in the legacy of our national identity.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
when you said that our history shouldn't be only accessible through universities. That's something that I really felt because I'm searching for one history book and I can only find it in the libraries of universities. And it's the same thing here in the Netherlands. It's an e-book, but it's not really accessible, so I cannot read the history. But it actually,
What's the name of the book? Because we might have somebody in the audience that happens to say, hey, I have the book
Yeah.
right here.
Cabo Verde, formação e extinção de uma sociedade escravocrata from
have it.
1478 until the 19th century. That's a history
I
book
have
that
it.
I'm searching for.
You have it?
I have it.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we need to ask these questions. Okay.
Well,
She
Tessa,
is the
maybe you
doctor,
can
you
help
know.
me with a few questions because we do have a lot of questions surrounding our identity, and I think there's a lot of information in that book. Jaffa, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, I don't know what happened to Lala, but one of the things I think in terms of what he was saying about it, it's just not where it needs to be, the levels it needs to be. I've been in Cabo Verde on July 5th, and there was nothing happening. And I was like, wait, isn't it today the Independence Day? And it's like, in terms of the knowledge of the history of Cabo Verde, it's not where it needs to be. And I think that, and I always bring language back into it because when I first started this work of the language, there were people that have been here over generations before independence that were mad at me. They would be in my face and yell at me and ask me, why am I doing this? Why am I teaching this? It's not a language, or that Cape Verdeans need Portuguese and in order to be successful. And so it's that mentality, the colonistic mentality, that tells you that what is yours is not valuable. And I think by learning the history and even learning about Criollo as a language and learning it now that there's an adopted alphabet, learning those pieces strengthens us, strengthens our identity. And how powerful is that, right? Because I always say with my Criollo, I understand Portuguese, I can understand
I
some
said I'm in
French,
your
I
room.
speak Spanish,
Stay away.
right? So there are all these different pieces, right? And I think that, even Cabral said it. Education is where it's at. Our
Yeah.
people need to be educated. And by even, these education pieces that have to do with Criollo, Cabo Verde, the history of the past of Cabo Verde, strengthens the people of Cabo Verde, because then you know the strengths of our people, not the day-to-day life that you live, but what we come from, what has been established and why it was established. Why was Cabo Verde fighting for independence? Okay, like we need to know those pieces, and it's not. It doesn't. And I think I don't want to really speak for Lala, but speaking in terms of education as a teacher, education is powerful. And when you learn about yourself and your history, it strengthens, it sturdies your feet. It gives you a
Amen.
foundation. Here in Boston, I mean, people have me go in different neighborhoods that have no Cape Verdeans. They want to know about Cabo Verde. They want to know about the culture and the history. Why are they into it? We need it. And it's like, I don't know, it's a powerful thing. And I think by not having it to the levels it needs to be in Cabo Verde is, I think, very purposeful, because I think if we can improve those pieces of identity, of history in the education system in Cabo Verde, and even bringing Criollo into it, because if we can do it here in Boston, why not in Cabo Verde? No matter the variation. So
Thank you.
I
I have a
mean, I'm
question.
very
Thank
passionate
you.
about this
I want to
piece,
ask
but
Jaffa something.
Yes, you can.
yeah.
After hearing you say all this, I'm wondering, what role does the dictionary play into this?
Very great, very
Well,
great
I think
question.
I think the dictionary plays a huge role in it because one, the Cape Verdean dictionary, the first, and I have it right here. It's like a Bible.
That's what's up.
Um, the first edition was made in Criollo to English, and it was very purposeful in doing so because we wanted to um, catalog words in Creole, right? Because like we were just saying, like how you opened today, having that Creolish, language where our language evolved. There's a lot of words in this dictionary that holds on to the history, right? So old words that people might not even know today, but it holds on to that history. So it's an artifact of our language. It does have some variations in there, um, but if we did it in all variations, it would have been a much bigger book. And this first one took 10 years. And right now we are in the last stages of the second edition, which is going to be in English to Criollo. We are laying it out. There is over 13,000 English words, but because we did add variations in Criollo, it has over 100,000 words in Criollo. So we're trying to hold on to the language, even though it's a newly written language because of the alphabet. It's less than 30 years old. Um, and instead, and I know like a lot of people have issues with the alphabet because there's no C in it, there's no W, there's no Q. And, but when you look at why linguists came up with this and using in Criollo to actually come up with this alphabet, it's because it's phonetic, and C, as we know, has those two sounds. It has the S sound and the K sound. So instead of always questioning which one goes here, they said, okay, for the K is K, for the S is S. So
Makes
that way
sense.
there's no confusion, right? And in
Yes.
Cabo Verde, everyone's like, well, Jaffa, Cabo Verde is spelled with a C. Yes, if you write it in Portuguese or English. But if we're writing it look at Dutch, it's with a K. In Creole, let me see, pull up my shirt a little bit. Is that Creole? Creole.
Cabo Verde.
It Creole. It Creole is with a K. But I think that one of the things that there's a lot of questions because we have to understand that language is alive, right?
Yes.
Language was oral before it became written. And
Yes.
as people found systems of writing, it became written. And now the written form is becoming digital, right? Because people don't really write anymore, we type. So in knowing those pieces, then you understand why, Criollo is now written in this way. It's not to erase how people used to invent how to write Criollo with what they knew, with Portuguese and African languages. Now we have our own alphabet, right? So as we move forward, and I must say, I'm very proud to see the evolution within these 10 years, to see Criollo written in more of a systemic or a format, whereas it was more inventive before. I'm really happy to see it has improved. And as we move forward, it will, and it's getting better and better. And I'm so excited about that because we want to respect the language. It is a language. It's not a dialect. It's not it is a language. It's the language of Cabo Verde. It's actually the second official language of Cabo Verde. It's actually in the article. It's Portuguese and Criollo.
Yes.
So, and I'm really excited to see it grow. And I'm here as a resource. Everybody knows.
Yes. We have a resource. We have a
And
book.
and also me as a proud owner of a copy of the dictionary, being from St. Cloud, and you mentioned earlier the variations. I want to thank you because this very dictionary has come in handy in plenty of situations. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you so
Much
much.
appreciated.
Now for the
Señor Manuel.
closing closing question, closing of closing?
Closing.
Closing
Waarom te veel? Só crioulo.
question, yeah.
Última pergunta.
Última pergunta. Before we go, we have like one question for the Q&A, little time. But
How do we stay connected to
how
Cabo
do we
Verde?
stay connected to Cabo Verde? Yes, in 2 sentences.
And it can be
Millie, go first.
Millie, go
Millie.
first. Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, yeah, put me on the spot.
On the spot.
So I'm sorry. Say that
2
again.
sentences.
How do we stay connected to Cape Verde, Cabo Verde?
How do we stay connected to Cape Verde? Just yeah, like what Jaffa was just talking about. You know, speaking the language is very important. She made a great point about that coming to the forefront. But then when I watch the news or I watch CFVMA awards and I hear those people talking Portuguese, I'm like, what are we doing? Like this is, where are we going with this? Like I miss our identity in that. I miss the fact that we don't have. I'm just using that as an example because I'm always on the CVMA awards. I think they're a great organization. Don't get me wrong. I just believe that they need to do some things better. But it's in those small things where I find everything. Like getting somebody from Portugal or somebody that is Portuguese to host a show like that. Those people don't know us. They don't know our heart. They don't know our culture. They don't know the difference between Barlavent and Sotavent. They can't, they can't identify with us fully. But on a big stage, they're the ones who are representing us. And I think examples like that are wrong. I'm sorry I didn't use 2 sentences, but
I was just saying that. It was a long sentence.
Just
A very long sentence.
That's it. It's all good.
but yeah, Nozik knows. I definitely believe that togetherness is where it's going to come at. If I can take an example from here in America, there's still too much competition. It is great that we inherit that, a little bit of the American style as well, or the mentality, because it is a great mentality. They are go-getters, but we shouldn't forget that our strength comes from a different place. Our strength as a people come from a different place. We are a village. We have a village mentality, and there's nothing wrong about exploring that on a global space.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a shame that Senor Gonçalves is
Yeah, he
gone.
just texted me his the Wi-Fi connection in Cabo Verde.
Okay.
Cabo
So he's
Verde,
trying.
yeah?
He's
trying.
trying, but
Jaffa, do you
um,
have 2 sentences for us?
I do. I think to stay connected is we each have to do our part. I think supporting businesses, Cape Verdean owned, supporting events, in sharing. No more gatekeeping. Share the information, share the knowledge of
Yes.
whatever it is, Cabo Verde, right? And people see me around, and I like to learn. I want people to share, but we each have to do our part in growing our community from the diaspora. So definitely those pieces. So, and find out what you can. If you don't know, ask somebody. We're here as a resource. There's plenty, like Tirza was saying, there's plenty of resources, and I'm loving all of these new up and coming resources for Cabo Verde,
Yes.
the culture, language, all of it. So
Very much so.
definitely.
Yes.
Very much so.
Thank you. Thank you.
I before you guys let Dr. Neves go, I definitely want to say I agree with that. I that reminds me of an interview that I had with some members that were running for school committee, members that were running for mayor elects. Like, if we get together, as I said, like let's say you're in Massachusetts, there would be already a Cape Verdean mayor. You know what I mean? There's so many resources. Like, we need to understand the resources around us, so that we can basically advance as our own culture as well. I always talk about the Asian culture. where every big city has a Chinatown. Like we can have that as well. You know, we can have like that togetherness as well, as long as we start understanding things. Like I didn't even know that you can call the school committee and you can complain about the, you know, the things that your kids are teaching in school, or you can go to those meetings. People don't go to those meetings. People don't go out and vote. You know, and especially voting on people that look like us and understand our culture is great, because they're the ones that can change your community and they can change everything else. You know, the president doesn't know Cape Verdeans. You know, our people our people around us know us. So it's very important that we take advantage of the resources that we have.
Yes. So thank you for adding that to the conversation. Dr. Teresa Lima Neves.
If I was to follow up on what you just said, Millie, we'd be here for another 2 hours on
Oh wow.
political participation. But I'm not going to touch that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, and I'm going to speak from the position of a Criolla who lives from a Criolla who lives far from the hub of the Cape Verdean community that is, you know, in the Massachusetts, Rhode Island, all of that. The way we stay connected is by finding pockets of Cape Verdeanness in any way that we can, right? So many of us can't go back to Cape Verde. Many of us cannot travel to New England to go to all the different Cape Verdean festivals that we have in July. But there's just little ways that you can create that connection with, for those of us whose, you know, whose kids are not in the Cape Verdean community all the time. We make sure that there's always, you know, music playing in the house. We're watching festival on TV. So it doesn't have to be high level all the time. But you can do the little pockets that bring that Cape Verdean joy to your house. So yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for the people at home and the people here in the audience. If you are interested or curious about the work of our panel members, on Punt 010, the Instagram, we have tagged their Instagram, so you can follow them, you can look into their work, and you can order the books that they have written. So please, people, my advice is follow them.
And order the books.
And order the
because
books,
I can
yes.
recommend all of them.
Order the books.
I have all of the books. I have them at home. So from a personal experience, I recommend all of them.
Yes. So questions from the audience. Small questions. No. You can one sentence, no. But questions from the audience here or audience in online.
Are there any questions right now? A comment more? Okay.
Comment?
Not a question, but more of a comment. Mike is on his way. Yeah. Otherwise, they can't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh guys, before you guys comment, I just have to relocate to somewhere else. Okay, so I'm gonna sign out and then come right back.
Okay. Yes.
Got you. Just make
All right.
it quick.
Just
Thank
make
you.
it quick.
Yes.
Not a
I
long
will.
sentence.
I will.
So are we waiting for Millie to come back, or
You should
just drop my comment? No, I guess I just
question,
wanted
your
to
comment, yeah.
respond on that last question about how we stay connected to Cabo Verde. And I would say, because I hear all these great examples from the diaspora people. So let's lead by example. Let's lead with love. I guess let's not forget that we're dealing with a country that is still decolonizing, and and ask ourselves maybe what standards are we holding the country to? Because I have noticed I'm the son of a very militant man. He's not around anymore, but because I've seen this all my life, I tend to see that diaspora folk have this militant way of looking at the development of our country. So, and it shows, I guess, if I can say this, mainland Cape Verdeans looking at diaspora Cape Verdeans, it shows. We're kind of, if I could be so bold to say, we're kind of aggressive with that.
Yeah.
So let's be mindful, because so my comment is on how we stay connected.
Yeah.
So let's lead by example, lead with love, and not forget these things, and maybe have also someone from Cape Verde in a panel so we can cross-reference some statements.
Okay.
Because let's do this together.
Yeah.
But thank you for the inspiration, and I have a lot of food for thought.
Okay.
So that's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I address that?
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for that comment. Absolutely. I think that leading with compassion and with love is absolutely important. I think because we are so passionate about Cape Verde and we love our country, from the ones who were born and raised there to the ones who are first, second generation, because we love it so much, we know the potential that it can have. I think that that's why we do the work that we do. If we didn't, we wouldn't be as involved. I think as a people, we are resilient and we do all that we can for the communities. I think that this was a diaspora conversation, and so it made sense to have for folks in the diaspora. But I think that it's because I wouldn't say there's something wrong with being militant. As a capitalista, I would say that there's nothing wrong with being militant. There's nothing, I think we need to be careful with using words like aggressive, for example, or militant in these kinds of ways because they can be very racist and very discriminatory. And I think that we do the work that we do because of the love that we have for our country. But those words, when we use the words matter, right? So, and we have to think about colonial legacies and what we were taught about ourselves. Because we love our country, we are holding our government responsible for the things that we think need to be done. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we need to be very mindful of the words that we're using because they can come out and and label folks in a way that should not be. Yeah.
Yes. I saw a question online. How can the diaspora stay connected?
As in with each
Diaspora
other.
with each other.
Oh.
As a group, as a diaspora effort.
Any answers to that question? How can we stay connected with each other? Like,
I mean, I think Millie
Really?
kind of mentioned a little, like in terms of staying connected with all these groups forming online, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
WhatsApp.
because it's yeah, WhatsApp, exactly. Because I think that, I am part of a lot of them, and I'd love to see like the differences and the nuances of people in different areas. Like there's a few people in England, in London, who, they have a little group going, and just like seeing how they bring out their creolidad, I guess. I don't know, creoleness out is very interesting, and I love seeing those aspects, in terms of the differences, but also in terms of the similarities, and trying to really feed those pieces of ourselves, our Cape Verdeanness, and how they do it, and bridging that gap a little bit. So I
Yes.
think that it's important, and I think that's a easy, and we're so lucky, right? Because now we have this World Wide Web where we can stay connected, and definitely in supporting, events like these that are online, and all of those pieces. So there's definitely ways.
Thank you. Yes,
Definitely.
thank you. Yes.
I
Yes,
really
Tirza?
think that it's happening. I'm really excited about the kinds of communities Cape Verdeans have formed, particularly on Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram than I am on Facebook or other places, but I'm really excited, especially to see generations younger than mine interacting and collaborating, and just really having all these multiple conversations about identity and nothing too deep sometimes. Sometimes it's about makeup. Sometimes it's about, let's raise funds to support somebody. It's for me, it's really exciting to see the different diasporic locations coming together. I think we're doing it. I'm very hopeful, and I think it's pretty bomb.
Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Can I add my 2 cents in
Yes.
answering these questions?
Yes.
Because a few things come to mind from personal experience hearing you two ladies talk. And I'm all about small steps, is that sometimes it doesn't have to be too big and not be too deep. Like you mentioned, people just talking online about stuff like makeup. It can also be taught, like if you have a passion for hip hop music, for instance, see if you can connect with a person from Cabo Verde who loves Cape Verdean hip hop
Yes.
and learn something about Cape Verdean hip hop history. Just,
Yes.
sometimes it can be just that.
It can be that simple.
There's a few on TikTok
You
that
know,
actually is, in terms of hip hop rap and all that. And Criollo Basics is on TikTok as well, so people can follow that. And all these little pieces are definitely making our world a little closer, for sure.
Awesome.
and
Thank you.
I'm teaching a course on hip hop and global politics right now, and I have a whole unit on Cape Verde. Last year, I invited Shokanti, who's Boston based, to be one of my guest speakers. And this year, we have Chachi. So it's about the Cape Verdean diaspora. And I'm hoping to be able to invite folks in Cape Verde to zoom into the classes. So students, I don't have any Cape Verdean students, but I think if we just continue to bring Cape Verde out to the world so folks know how intense and how serious our hip hop artists are, there's so much activism in the work that they do. I think that's how we met online, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's really, really fabulous.
Yes, thank you so
Great.
much. For the people here and the people at home, we need your feedback. So quickly, let us know what you thought of this event, because it has come to an end.
A sério?
A sério.
Ah,
Thank you,
man.
boy.
No, thank you, boy. Okay.
Thank you, boy.
That's
Can
it.
I thank the
Thank you.
community? Can I thank you both for bringing us to your community, for allowing us to come into your kitchen and have a conversation. I really appreciate all the comments, all the feedback. I'm really inspired by this conversation. So thank you both, and thank you to the organization and the people sitting in the audience. I appreciate you.
Thank
Thank you.
We appreciate you, and we are very happy to have you on the panel. You guys are very
I wanna-
inspiring. Yes.
I just want to mirror that comment. I think, the Netherlands have always been in my mind of one day I'm going to get there, and today I'm here. But I hope to get there, and I appreciate you for having me, and Mili Mila, and and Dr. Lima here. I love when we are able to share our passion. So this has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yes,
you.
and please keep in mind, if you guys announce that you're going to Rotterdam,
Oh, yeah.
we will make sure we have like a delegation for you waiting
Right there at
and
the
show
airport.
you right at the airport. Leo Vigilde and me will be at the front with Punt Zero Dash. The rest of us just Punt Dash. I want to introduce the other ladies, because you've seen me, you guys have seen Yasminda as well, and I would like to invite Yasminda, Nikki, Daphne, Savannah, and where? Oh, unfortunately, Elma had to go because she's going to south of Korea.
Oh, wow.
Southern Korea. This is Punt Zero Dash. You guys don't have a mic. Oh, the camera is there and there.
Right over there. Yeah.
Yes. So it was actually, yes.
Round of applause for
Round
these
of
ladies.
applause.
Because it is very important what they're doing in the community. Oftentimes I've talked to people of the Cape Verdean community right here in the Netherlands, Rotterdam to be more specific, and people would always say we need more things to be done, and we need so and so, we need this, that, and the third. I never heard these ladies say any of these things. They were too busy saying, what can I do, or what can we do? And they started doing that. So me, as a Cape Verdean born and raised in Rotterdam. I'm super proud of these ladies, and I'm super proud and I'm humbled to be able to be part of this experience. So thank you very much. For me
Criollas
personally,
rock. I told you Criollas rock.
that's what's up, straight up. Took some Criollas to make this happen, for real.
Yes, thank you so much. Millie, we are closing up now. We have to go, otherwise we will be thrown out the venue.
That's all right.
But
That's all right. I'm so sorry, guys. When life is lifing, I had somebody set up to come in pick up my kid, and that kind of got mixed up. So
that's
All
okay.
good, man.
That's all right.
I apologize hardly. I really love the show. I really love what you guys did here today. Heavy respect to Dr. Kanesh and Jock Hughes. I hope that one day I get the honor and opportunity to interview you guys. I think what you guys do is great work. Follow me on Praça Azul, please, guys. I really love what I do, and I encourage more everybody to apply. So, Jane, Leo, and the rest of the team, you guys are amazing. You guys know what I think of you. Hopefully, next time you'll invite me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And boa noite, boa tarde para nós, and boa noite para tudo alguém ali. Thank you for watching. And don't forget, you can find the socials of our panel members on .0 and we are having an upcoming event. Keep our Instagram and socials in. How do you keep it watching? Keep it. I forgot.
You wanted to say keep it in the gaten.
Keep it in the gaten.
We're gonna
Keep
talk
it
about
in the
Kriol and
gaten.
this.
Yes.
Ladies, just check out our socials. Gentlemen, check out our socials. Have a
Yes.
nice evening.
Thank
you very
and
much.
Thank you, Leo Vigildo.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you. Thank you.
Signing off.